Good evening, welcome back to the Fire Burns Within channel. Couple of videos for you tonight, Sunday night. Two videos concentrating on the fair country of Sweden, the home of melodic death metal and old school death metal, and also power true heavy metal as well. They do both styles very well. The first video is going to concentrate on my top 20 Swedish power true heavy metal albums of all time. The only criteria for this video is that I decided, because to be fair, only one album per band. So if a band gets to be on the list, that's their only album on the list. They're not going to have two or three. I mean, sometimes it's possible, like for instance, a band I think deserves to be on there two or three times with their discography. But I wanted to get a broader range of albums, so it's easier just to do one per band, one album per band, and then you get a nice wide range of albums. So anyway, this is the top 20 in reverse order. I did put this in some kind of order eventually. It's difficult. I mean, it's not set in stone, but I did manage to put some kind of order on this. Okay, in 20th place we have Dragonland and the album Astronomy. Yeah, Dragonland is a cool band. They're not really very well known amongst the Swedish power metal bands. I mean, and they haven't released an album for a good while, but I've actually seen them live and they're really cool. They're a very cool, typically Swedish melodic power metal band. Very high pitched vocals. It's a good album. I mean, it's bottom on my list, but all these albums I would say are 8 out of 10 and upwards. So to make the 20, you've got to be good, even if you're number 20. Number 19 is Persuader and the Hunter album. Persuader is like quite a heavy melodic power metal band. They're sort of influenced by Blind Guardian quite a bit, and also a little bit of Iced Earth in there. And the thing is, I'm not a huge Blind Guardian fan. I mean, I can listen to Blind Guardian, but I don't own any Blind Guardian albums. I mean, I don't know what it is with them. It's just not for me. But the Persuader album, which is quite a little bit influenced from Blind Guardian, is really good. Because they have this sort of like heavy edge, and the vocals are very melodic too, and more in line with Iced Earth as well. So I just really like them. Persuader. Number 18 is Nostradamus and Pathway. Nostradamus have got quite a few albums under their belts. I mean, they're always an also ran power metal band, but I think they're underrated. They're pretty cool. They've been going quite a while, but they've sort of like ran out of steam in recent years. You don't hear about them too much. But Pathway was a really good album. I really enjoyed this one. Very cool. Number 17 is Stormwind and Resurrection. Now, this is quite an old album. It's, I don't know, it must be early part of the century, or maybe late 90s even. I can't quite remember. I didn't write the dates down on these, which is a bit of a shame. I should really be telling you the dates, but I can't tell you them exactly for this Stormwind one. All I know is I really like this one. It's got a slight neoclassical edge. Thomas Wikström is the singer. He was in Candlemass as well. He's a really cool singer, Thomas Wikström. And a little known fact about this is that the guitarist and band leader, I forget his name. His name's not coming to me. he used to be a karate expert. He represented Sweden, I think, at karate at some kind of high level, but he's also a heavy metal guy making albums, and Stormwind's album Resurrection is an awesome album. It's really cool. Anyway, number 16 is the debut album from Crystal Eyes, World of Black and Silver. Yeah, I really like this album. I think it's a really cool album. The production is a little bit muddy, it's a little bit messy, but I really like this album. It's their first one. I mean, they just released an album, I think in 2018, which was really, really good as well. You know, perfect album, more or less. It's really good. But for the purposes of this list, I still went for World of Black and Silver as being worthy of making the list. Number 15 is Evergrey and Recreation Day. Now, Evergrey is quite a progressive band, so they sort of fit into the power metal tag as well, but because of the progressive nature as well, you got to call them like a prog power band. But they're the only prog power band in this list of 20 actually. But I feel Recreation Day is an awesome album. It's very melodic, very heavy, very catchy. Number 14 is Tad Morose and Matters of the Dark. I think this is Tad Morose's best album. It's heavy, it's melodic, it's sort of mid-tempo. I call them like the Swedish Sabotage. Very similar feel to me. Urban Breed, he's an amazing singer. Of course, now he's fronted many bands since he left Tad Morose. I mean, Tad Morose is still going, but they've sort of lost, I don't know, they've lost the spark. And, you know, they've chopped and changed singers a lot. Since Urban's left, they just haven't been able to really deliver much. But the Urban era of the band is mostly really good. I mean, the start of the band is quite sort of doomy and slightly progressive, but I like the straight ahead, melodic heavy metal era. And Matters of the Dark is easily a killer album, awesome album. Number 13, we've got Accent Star and Far From Heaven. Accent Star is a really cool, underrated band. Very melodic, very catchy, great singer, very, very melodic tone. I love this album, Far From Heaven. Very, very cool album. I forgot to say that I shouldn't really be showing these, but I mean, you just have to pretend I'm showing the CD. I own 15 of this top 20 and 5 I don't own, but you know, for various reasons, haven't got round to it. You know how it is, and I'm not too anal about collecting as well. But anyway, yeah, this one I do actually own, but it's a really cool album. Number 12 is Golden Resurrection, Glory to My King. This was like a side project with Christian Lilligren and Tommy from Sabaton and Rainseed. They sort of wanted to do this Christian power metal project, and it's full on Christian worship. I mean, the lyrics leave you in no doubt what we're talking about here, but the music is just awesome. I mean, anything that Tommy is involved in is awesome to me. The guy he's just got the knack for power metal. And Christian's voice is very good. Everyone knows him from Narnia, from his other bands. I forget their name. Oh, God, memory's gone. And also, he's got a new band coming, the Waymaker, which is just about to release an album. And I reacted to a couple of their videos. Really cool, really cool. But anyway, Golden Resurrection is awesome. It's sort of like slightly neoclassical power metal. It's very cool, very melodic. If you can get past the preachy lyrics, that is. And I can just about. I sort of take it all with a pinch of salt. I'm not like super worried about it. I just get lost in the catchy melodies and great riffs, great production. Number 11. This is a very underrated, almost unknown band, and sadly they've never been able to. Well, they've split up. They've never followed this up. The band is called Timeless Miracle, and the album is Into the Enchanted Chamber. This is one of the albums I don't own. I really wish to own it, but it's just not been possible. But this is such a cool album, Timeless Miracle. So melodic, so catchy, typically Swedish. Very cool power metal, very cool. And they never managed to do a follow-up, which was quite sad. Before they called it quits and gone their separate ways. Okay, this is the top 10. My top 10 Swedish power metal albums of all time. Number 10 is Morifade, Possession of Power. I loved this album when it came out. The singer especially was awesome to me. This singer, he was on the second and I think he was on the third as well, or he might have just done the 2 albums and left after that. But his voice is just perfect for power metal. Very melodic, a great tone, you know, not too much of an accent. The band itself is very cool. They do really catchy melodic songs. I mean, they just know how to do power metal. I mean, I love Morifade. Very, very cool band. Number 9, moving on. Dream Evil, the Book of Heavy Metal. Yes, this is heavy. It's powerful. It was a bit of a super group. Fredrik Nordstrom, the producer, is sort of his like foray into power metal. Gus G was in the band at this point. Snowy Shaw was on drums. The singer is Niklas. He still is the singer. Very cool, very heavy, pounding power metal. Like, not so speed fixated. It's like a more of a Judas Priest, Primal Fear, Saxon, sort of like pounding heavy metal style, but with great vocals. I mean, Niklas, I forget his second name. He's a great singer, very melodic. I mean, they've had a lot of good albums. Dream Evil could easily have 2 or 3 in this top 20 if I wasn't following the rule of only one band per album. But if I follow that rule, I give it to the Book of Heavy Metal. Although there's 2 or 3 other great albums that I could have put in, the debut, United, In the Night. I mean, Dream Evil is an awesome album, awesome band. Okay, number 8, a recent entry. It's Twilight Force, Dawn of the Dragon Star, their most recent album. This is a absolutely mega catchy album. They got in the Italian singer Alex Conti from Luca Turilli's band, so there's sort of like they've got one Italian dude in there. I still class them as a Swedish band because they're all Swedes in the main, and so it's still Swedes to me, even though with an Italian singer. But the album is just awesome, very melodic, slightly neoclassical, very epic, lots of keyboards, lots of shredding speed, just very catchy, melodic power metal. Number 7 is Rainseed and Welcome to the Theatre. This is my favourite Rainseed album. Tommy Johansson, obviously Rainseed is now on hold, or split up if you like, because he's got his new band Majestica, and of course he's also in Sabaton. Everyone knows that. Actually, I don't know how I've left Majestica out of my list, but I have. Majestica deserves to be in this list, but I don't know. I've just left them out on this occasion. But it's an awesome album too. But Rainseed's Welcome to the Theatre, that is a really cool, very catchy album. It's sort of like fixated with sort of like movies from Hollywood. Every song is based on a movie from Hollywood. Very catchy vocals from Tommy himself. Lots of keyboards, lots of fast riffs. I mean, Tommy, he just knows everything about power metal. The guy is like, he's looking at the book of power metal and just ticking them off one by one as he creates the songs. He probably wrote the rule book for how to create power metal. Okay, number 6, the debut album from Bloodbound called Nosferatu. This one came out of the blue and blew everyone away, or blew the power metal community away. Very catchy, very Halloween influenced, very Iron Maiden influenced, Urban Breed on vocals, very catchy songs, very cool start for the band. I mean, I don't know if they've even equaled it ever. The only thing is, the production wasn't quite as good as the albums that followed, but song-wise, it's just an amazing album. And the title track, Nosferatu, is literally one of the best power metal songs of all time. You know, it's got such an amazing feel, great catchy chorus. Urban, he sounds like awesome on this album, awesome. And he sounded, I mean, Urban is one of my favourite power metal singers ever. I mean, he's just, every album he sings on, he's great. He's a really great singer. Okay, the top 5. Hammerfall, Legacy of Kings. People will say, where's the debut? And I'll say, well, I'm not saying the debut's not great, it is, but Legacy of Kings is where Hammerfall becomes Hammerfall to me. I mean, production is killer, the songs are epic, pounding, heavy metal, little bit Accept influence, little bit Halloween influence, little bit Maiden influence. Like, they take all the best bits of melodic heavy metal and into one great you know, full album. Joachim Kan's on vocals. He's got a very high pitched voice, very recognizable. Like, you can tell it's Joachim straight away when he starts singing, which is a plus point in my book, because sometimes some singers are not too easily discernible. They sound quite similar to others, but Joachim, you can tell it's him. He's sort of got this unique tone that you can tell it's him. Number 4. This album is underrated in my opinion. It's Nocturnal Rites, Tales of Mystery and Imagination. I loved this album when it came out. This album came out literally the same time as Hammerfall's Glory to the Brave. I mean, it was like, I think maybe a year later. It came out at the same time literally. Of course, Glory to the Brave was the start of the European power metal movement, but Nocturnal Rites, they were right behind. I mean, they weren't far behind. And this album is just awesome. The singer, Anders Zachrisson, he's an amazing singer. He's got a very nasal sounding voice, but I don't know, I just love his tone. He's got an accent as well, but it's all adding to the charm for me. It's not like decrying or taking away from the charm of the album. I mean, and it's a very melodic album. I mean, the production is not the best by today's standards, but it's a little bit muddy, but the songs are really, really catchy. The main influence is definitely Iron Maiden, a little bit of Halloween, but mainly Maiden. Lots of gallop, lots of great riffs, high-pitched nasal vocals, like I said, and great songs. Especially one song which I absolutely love. It's called Division. That is just an amazing song. Okay, this is the top 3 power metal albums from Sweden. Number 3, well, Sabaton, The Art of War. They've got to get in there somewhere. It's hard to choose a Sabaton album, but I've picked The Art of War. I think it's a great album. I mean, at that time, Sabaton were like they're hitting peak form. This sort of era, The Art of War, Coat of Arms, and so on. I mean, all Sabaton albums are great. They're pretty interchangeable, but The Art of War, I think they really nailed this one. This is an awesome album. You know, it's got a good mix of songs. Your pounding rockers, your fist in the air choruses, heavy drums, fluid guitar riffs, heavy vocals from Joachim. Very, very cool album. My favourite possibly from their discography, and number 3 in my list. Number 2, these two albums I've talked about a lot. Number 2 is the debut album from Falconer, the self-titled. This one came out of the bolt out of the blue. I mean, like a bolt out of the blue. Very melodic, very catchy, awesome vocals, little bit folky. Vocals are very low baritone. Very awesome album. To this day, it's my favourite Falconer album. I don't think they've managed to beat it. The songs were like, when you hear the songs for the first time, you're blown away by the heaviness, the melodies. It's just a pleasure to listen to. But my number 1 album, and I've talked about this album a lot, it's popped up in a few lists and it's still there. I mean, I just can't get away from it. It's the second Lost Horizon album, A Flame to the Ground Beneath. I mean, my fandom for Lost Horizon is just endless. I mean, the fact that they never were able to replace Daniel Hyman and release the 3rd album is painful to this day. And you know what? I still to this day have hope that Daniel and main man Wojciech, I think his name is, the sort of like Polish guy I think he probably lives in Sweden, could make some kind of deal and say, just come back and release this 3rd album, because Daniel is singing a lot. He's in a lot of albums. He's in this Cypriot band now, Warrior Path, and also he's singing in other albums. He's in the scene. It's just that the band has called it quits. But if they could possibly ever come back and do this follow-up to A Flame to the Ground Beneath, that would be all power metal fans, like, we'll just be bowing to them, because this album for me is just a glorious album. I mean, it's a power metal album. Yeah, it's a normal power metal album, but the feeling is, I don't know, it's like a self empowerment power metal. Like, when you listen to this, everyone knows the feeling that you get. The feelings from this album are like just full of vigor. Like, it gives you an energy, a great feeling. The guitars are a little bit on the thin side, but very sharp, very speedy, very melodic. The vocals are, I mean, this guy Daniel Hyman, his vocal performance on this album is legendary. What he does on this album is just something else. Some piercing high screams, very catchy lower vocals, very cool melodies. I mean, epic songwriting. Just a great album. Every time I listen to it to this day, I still marvel at it. I think it's just an amazing record. So there you have it. That's my top 20 countdown of Swedish power metal albums. Only 1 per band. Quick rundown: Dragonland, Astronomy, Persuader, The Hunter, Nostradamus, Pathway, Stormwind, Resurrection, Crystallize, World of Black and Silver, Evergrey, Recreation Day, Tad Morose, Matters of the Dark, Axon Star, Far From Heaven, Golden Resurrection, Glory to My King, Timeless Miracle, Into the Enchanted Chamber, Morifade, Possession of Power, Dream Evil, The Book of Heavy Metal, Twilight Force, Dawn of the Dragon Star, Rainseed, Welcome to the Theatre, Bloodbound, Nosferatu, Hammerfall, Legacy of Kings, Nocturnal Rites, Tales of Mystery and Imagination, Sabaton, The Art of War, Falconer, self-titled, and the almighty Lost Horizon, A Flame to the Ground Beneath. Okay, stay tuned. Swedish death metal top 20 coming up.